Buckle up, guys. Today we are going to witness one of the most bizarre arrests you'll ever see. It begins with an officer bluntly stating that the man is under arrest for making off without payment. But here's the catch: he hadn't left, hadn't refused to pay, and was standing right there. What unfolds from this point is a shocking display of poor judgment and misuse of authority over something as simple as a £20 Royal Mint coin.
Pound coin.
Never seen them in my life.
So it's from the Royal Mint, so the same place that all legal tender comes from.
Have you got any other means of payment at the minute?
I don't know. Can I ask why you didn't tell me before you started recording?
So when we go to any incident, our tour of duty and our police protocol is to video every incident we go to achieve the best evidence.
But you've got to notify the person at the first available opportunity.
No, we don't.
You do?
Have you got that from somewhere? Have you read that up somewhere? Or?
Yes, your policy. Yeah.
Well, at the minute, we're obviously videoing everything because we've been called to an incident. Immediate response where there's some ongoing issue with payment, whether it's a domestic...
999?
Well, that's what's coming as, yeah.
Well...
Well, just to know what was happening. There was an altercation in the shop, so we've arrived on that instance. Are you going to give me your name?
I'm not, no.
Right, okay. Is there a reason for that?
Because it's a civil matter, and it's not something that the police can get involved in.
To a degree, you're right. It is a civil matter. We can deal with it a different way, but obviously, ultimately, you have...
Alright, guys, from the moment the officer arrives, the situation spirals. The auditor notices her body cam and asks why she didn't declare it. Policy says she should have, yet she flatly denies the requirement exists. Then she presses him for his name, even admitting it's a civil matter. This is where the cracks show, because demanding ID without a criminal offence is an empty power play, one that reveals just how shaky their footing is.
But they're not accepting that money.
But that's up to them to accept it. If they decline...
They've obviously run the post office and they've declined that. Ultimately, it's a civil issue, but if you're not willing to give us your details, then how do we know that you're going to resolve the civil issue at a later date? If you're happy to give us your details, then we can look at the civil issue at a later date.
But that's a civil issue, that's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But we don't know your details, do we? So you could technically escape from here and never come back and never deal with that issue, then you'd be circulated as wanted for that, won't you, for making off without payment?
That's not a police issue at the minute.
It is.
It's
it is a police issue because you've not paid for fuel. So there's still an offence there of that you've not paid for your fuel.
But I have paid. I've gave them.
But you've gave them this coin, yeah, which ultimately they've spoke to the post office and they've decided that it's not a reasonable amount of payment for your fuel. So at the minute we're sort of hands are tied, yeah. Agree with you on a certain instance of that, but we still need a solution today. Whether we take your details. And
now here's where things heat up. The officer tries to spin the situation into something bigger, warning the auditor he could be circulated as wanted. That's bluff, not law. Wanted markers are for criminals, not people in a civil dispute. She admits it's a civil issue, yet threatens criminal consequences to force compliance. This is the moment where it becomes clear, rather than solving the problem, the officers are inventing powers they simply don't have.
So basically, he's trying to pay with this. They've run the post office and said that it doesn't really exist, you can't pay with that. He obviously won't give us our details. I've explained to him to a degree it's a civil matter. However, if he does make off and he doesn't give us our details, we're struggling for any sort of civil issue at a later date. Any details and making off without payment, yeah. So I've explained if he does give us his details and we know where he is and we can contact him at a later date, hopefully this issue can get resolved. Now he's obviously not really wanting to do that at the minute.
Because it's a civil issue and it's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But you're still going to make off, aren't you? Technically without payment, but if we can get your details...
But I have paid.
But you haven't...
And it is their policy to accept the £20 coin.
Has he paid?
Policy? No, he hasn't.
Right, if you haven't paid and if you walk out the door now...
They've still got the money though.
Just let me finish. If you walk out that door now, you are liable for an arrest because we don't have your details.
But you don't need them.
But I do.
Because it's a civil issue.
But it's not, because a make off without payment is then a police matter.
When the second officer enters, the tension skyrockets. Instead of calming the situation, she instantly raises the stakes, warning the auditor that if he walks out, he'll be arrested. But think about it, he hadn't walked out, he wasn't avoiding payment, and he had already offered a valid coin. They weren't reacting to reality, but to a story they had created in their own heads. This was intimidation disguised as law, and it pushed the standoff to breaking point.
If you walk out that door now, If you walk out that door now, you'll be getting arrested for make off without payment.
But there is an agreement with BP that the coin can be used.
Is there any other way that you can pay? Because we're going to sit here for hours arguing. I've been quite respectful to you. I appreciate you have to a degree, and I appreciate that from yourself. You haven't been argumentative with me, and I appreciate that you've been a normal human being.
No,
however, we need
I don't intend to. No,
I know you appreciate that.
If you can pay for the fuel now by other means, then that's fair enough. It'll be the end of the matter.
Or if you can give us your details, and we can deal with it at a slower time, we can offer you that. But if you're not willing to do either any, then we're struggling with what we have left to do.
Because we can't let you walk out that door without paying. But
we don't know where you live. You might not even be from around here. I'm not saying you are, but you know what I mean. We have people where they'll make off and then they won't give us our details, and then we're going to struggle. I'm still going to have that £20 of fuel, unfortunately, with this BP garage outstanding.
Which car is it?
But I have paid for the fuel.
But you haven't paid for the fuel. Which one?
Right, we're going round in circles, aren't we?
We are, unfortunately, yeah. We've agreed, we've reasoned with you now, and we've tried to say that if you give us your details, just tell you where you live, we'll deal with it slow time. However, you then leave, you don't have your details, you don't know where you live, you could live in London for all we know, and then there's still this making off without payment because they will not accept this as payment.
But I don't have to identify for a civil issue.
It technically isn't a civil issue though, is it, when you leave and you don't pay? You haven't paid for your fuel. We've got the payment here, which isn't acceptable, so really you haven't paid at the minute.
Here's the tipping point. The auditor explains he already checked with BP head office, confirming the coin's validity. Instead of resolving it, the officer demands he call them again on the spot, insisting it could otherwise become a police matter. That's not how law works. Citizens don't have to prove themselves over and over again. Yet the officers double down, cornering him with ultimatums, give details, pay another way, or face arrest. The trap was being set.
I've handed the coin over, so I haven't got that in my possession, and I've contacted BP head office before coming here.
Right, and was that today then, or?
No.
So when was that then? So you've contacted BP head office before you've come in?
Correct.
Right, so was it to contact them today, or was it yesterday, or last week, or?
It's not up to me to say that.
How's it money?
Do you understand what the £20 coin is?
No, that's why I'm confused.
Well, why are you threatening me for arrest then, if you don't know?
Because it's not money.
It is.
Right. We'll agree to disagree. At the end
you don't know that. It is. It's legal tender, the same as a £20 note and a £10 note.
Right, and who did you speak to from the BP garage, the manager?
It's a Royal Mint who issued that £20 coin.
Right. Okay.
So it's the same money as any other money.
If you get someone on the phone to me who you've spoken to earlier, then we could kind of end the matter here, can't we?
Well, if it's a civil issue, I don't need to assist you.
But at the minute we don't know it's a civil matter.
But I don't need to assist you in a civil issue.
But you do, because it then turns into a police matter because we don't.
And now, the moment of collapse. Despite the auditor still being inside and saying again and again, "I haven't made off," they arrest him for making off without payment. The law requires two things: leaving the premises and intent to avoid paying. Neither existed here. But that didn't stop them. They cuff him, strip away his camera, and march him out. This is no longer confusion. It's a clear abuse of authority that crosses the line into unlawful arrest.
It's a civil agreement.
You're being arrested because you haven't given us the details, and you're going to walk out that door, and it's technically a failure to pay.
But then it'll be a civil. But then I'll sue you.
Well, that's fine. If you want to sue us, that's fine.
Unlawful arrest.
Like I said, we've been honest with you, and out in terms of which way we can go. The staff here have been very honest. Okay, and all I'm saying is, if you get the person on the phone who you spoke to earlier with the agreement, then that could be the end of the matter. But as far as I do, then technically, if you walk out the door, there's going to be a make without payment.
He's already accepted to take it.
You haven't accepted to take it. No, haven't accepted to take it. You walk out that door, becomes a criminal matter, and you get arrested for make off without payment.
You give us your details.
You're refusing to give us your details, and we don't know that vehicle is yours because you're not.
But I've told you.
Is it urgent?
That he said he would take the coin.
But he isn't now.
If I take my mask off.
Right. Well, I wasn't here for that, so we have no witnesses, unfortunately, other than you and him. Right now, I can't view that.
Body camera.
But right now, I can't view that. At the end of the day, you've come in, you've paid for, you've got your fuel, you've come in. This isn't a payable matter. Once you leave, we've offered you to give us your details and deal with it that way. For all I know, that vehicle could register somebody else and lived in London. And how are we ever going to trace you?
But I don't need to assist you.
Once you leave this situation, it is making off without payment. I can't be any more reasonable with you and give you some sort of options that we can go.
But I don't need to assist you.
Are you offering to give
because
the
you're
staff,
wrong.
not myself, not my colleague, the staff your name and contact number?
No.
Right, so we have one option but two will lock you up then.
Well, I've got a civil agreement in the background.
You can prove that at court. That's fine, you can prove that at court.
Right, well, this moment in time, you're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't have to say anything,
but I haven't made off.
We don't mention one question to the later line. Or anything you do is to make a given evidence.
But I haven't made off, though.
For your arrest is recorded in factual investigation. Okay?
But I haven't made off.
You're under caution, stop.
And due to the fact that you failed to provide details.
But I haven't made off.
Failed to provide details, yeah.
But I haven't made off.
Right, are we going to go calmly? Are we going to go quietly?
We would go calmly all the time.
Okay, well, do you want to walk with us then?
Of course.
Thank you. Just come with me, sir, please. Have you got anything in your pockets that's going to harm me or you? Just take them out. It's just a question we ask everybody.
Can we just take your camera off as well, please?
10 months later, the truth hits home. The auditor confirms he won £4,000 in compensation, but shockingly, no apology ever came from the force. The payout speaks louder than words. It shows the police knew they couldn't defend their actions. This entire saga proves how a simple civil dispute can explode into misconduct when officers choose ego over law. That's it for today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
10 months ago, I walked out of those gates after being falsely arrested for using the £20 coin. The Chief Constable has paid out £4,000 in compensation, but unfortunately he did not apologise at any point, even taking him to court. He went all the way to court, we had the hearing date, and then the Chief Constable saw some sense and paid £4,000 in compensation.